this conference can't happen without the chairs and the co-chairs and all the things that happen behind the scenes. But most importantly, it couldn't happen without Larry Silverstein. Chair Emeritus of the Real Estate Institute, our founder, sounding board for me, supportive of our students and our programs. He needs no introduction, so I'm gonna be quick. But I did do some math. So this is the 56th year of this conference. It's also about the 57th year of Schack. That means that he was in his early 30s when he came to the president of NYU and said, we need to train the next leaders in real estate. I think that's amazing. I'm not gonna tell you what I was doing in my early 30s. When this conference started, he started it with real estate leaders. He was 35. It's just amazing to think that somebody so visionary at that young age is still visionary today, as the governor mentioned, still doing the work, still building the buildings, the approval of the World Trade Center site number 5, 40 million square feet of office, hotel, and retail, 10 million worth of development underway right now. You know his bio, so I'm not gonna take a lot of time because I want him to talk to you about where he is, what he thinks, and be our visionary once again for where we're going in New York. So please welcome Larry Silverstein.
That was our own Dean Norman, who's doing a terrific job here. How long have you been here now, Norman?
15 months.
15 months. It's been terrific. It feels like you've been here much longer. So I'm proud of you, and thank you for holding the Clara and Larry Silverstein chairs. I appreciate it. So all I say is God bless. Keep going. You know, following the governor ain't easy. Makes me feel like Elizabeth Taylor's 8th husband on her wedding night. I know what I gotta do, but how do I make it interesting? I've got great respect for Governor Hochul. I've got great respect for Eric Adams, the mayor, because they're doing the best they possibly can. They're giving their utmost. They're trying like hell. But they got a couple of problems, and some damn serious ones. Because one of the things they're facing are progressive legislators who don't want to cooperate with them, are making their lives miserable. The governor, state assembly, state senate, progressives who are all the way to the left. And when you take a centrist governor like Kathy Hochul, trying to work with them, and many of them are difficult people who just don't understand the realities of life. They think real estate developers are the enemy. Eric Adams, he's got the same damn problem in city council. Progressive, leftist thinking, some socialist people. Again, either side, too far to the left, too far to the right. It's tough to get anything done. And so one of the things this country needs desperately, less hatred, less divisiveness, come together and work together. And we need to give Kathy Hochul and Eric Adams the best support we can because they're doing the best they can for us. New York, as we just heard, desperately needs housing. And it's tragic that we can't build it. One of the problems is that many of these elected officials in Albany don't understand how real estate functions. They believe that developers are loaded. They think we're rich as hell. As a matter of fact, they look at us as public enemy number one because we're not building the house the city and the state desperately need. So why? Well, you just heard some of it from the governor. Without the 421A program, without the tax advantages provided in that program, we can't get financing. And without financing, we can't build this real estate. I go back long enough to the point where I remember supplying 40,000 rental housing units a year in the city of New York. And we all got leased. 40,000 housing units a year. Could we use that today? Sure as hell. But we can't build it because they won't provide us with the 421 program that made possible all the rental housing that you see out there today. But it's not happening. A couple of thousand units now, as opposed to 40,000. It's ridiculous. But they look at real estate developers as people of major wealth, people who can afford to build this housing without financing. They're just not realistic. They have no sense of understanding or comprehension of what motivates, what makes things done, how it gets done, how it happens. And until somehow we can prevail upon them, and the governor sure as hell has tried and is trying again, it's not going to happen. So there are all kinds of things that private interests are trying to accomplish. Whether we're going to get it done or not, I don't know. But without it, nothing's going to happen in this regard, notwithstanding the massiveness of the need. Fortunately, the economy is doing well. Not all of it. The lower 20% is having a difficult time, a really tough time. Inflation seems to be under control. I anticipate lower interest rates. That usually affects the market in a positive fashion. It drives business activity, improves the lending climate, and offers a whole host of new opportunities. The problem today, and Jamie Dimon said this yesterday, there's so many imponderables out there. There's so many things happening in the world. Look at the war in the Middle East, Ukraine, and the Russians. Issues relevant to China, the climate crisis, oil prices, federal elections coming up. Jamie Dimon, who's a very competent, superb CEO of JPMorgan Chase, he believes there's a possibility of interest rates going further. That's not very good news as far as I'm concerned. Fortunately, both the governor and the mayor are not afraid to tackle the challenges straight on. It doesn't help that the mayor is dealing with the city council, as we've said. It doesn't help the governor to try to work out the different problems she has with the Assembly and the Senate. Last year, my company went through the URLA process with the mayor and the city council. For a $2 billion residential project in Astoria, Queens. It could be the largest private affordable housing development in Queens. It could create 1,200 income homes, low-income, mixed income homes. Sorry, it could create the largest development housing progress project in the borough of Queens. 3,200 mixed income housing, 2 acres of public open space, thousands of on-site jobs, including 3,700 construction workers, and $475 million in public revenue to support investments in education, infrastructure, etc. The approval of Innovation Queens was a historic moment for the city's efforts to ensure its long-term economic sustainability and provide enormous access to real opportunity. The problem is, I was just talking to Marty upstairs a few moments ago. Problem is, he said, he's worked on that thing for, what was it, Marty, about 5 or 6 years. I think we have $10 million in that thing. And because of no kind of 421 program, we can't build it. And I don't know how long it's going to take to get this thing going, but we've been doing it for a total of 6 years. I'm now 92 years of age. I'd like to see it happen. Honestly, at this rate, I don't think I will. But it's tragic because the city needs it and needs it desperately. And they did their damnedest to get it approved. But local elected officials, they don't want to provide the 421 program. And without it, no financing. So, can't get these pages separated. According to the Real Estate Board of New York, as of the end of October, there have only been 242 foundation project filings in New York City this year, representing only 9,000 proposed apartments. This puts the city on a pace for approximately 11,000 proposed apartments in all of 2023, a far cry from the 40,000 we used to provide. Is the need there? Yes. The governor certainly focused on it earlier. There's a desperate need for it, and people just don't have a place to reside in New York. They're convinced that real estate people are their worst enemy. But the truth of the matter is, our industry provides the space for 8.5 million New Yorkers to live and work, eat and learn, and play and enjoy. It also pays for a large part of the city's government programs, city's budget, police, fire, emergency people, subway workers. Real estate taxes are the largest single supplier of revenue that the city needs to function. It accounts for $35 million a year in that tax revenue to allow the city to do what it needs to do. But you know, I remember in 1970, the Beam administration it was in terrible shape. It had overspent. I don't like de Blasio. There were all kinds of problems. And one day, the mayor called and said, I cannot meet Friday afternoon's payroll. The guy who got the call was Lou Rudin, who at that time headed the Associate for a Better New York. And what did he ask for? Please prepay your taxes. So Lou got on the phone, called all of us, the major developers in their city. And he said, guys, prepay the taxes. And that's exactly what we did. We gave the city what it needed to avoid having to go into bankruptcy at that moment in time. We were there for the city. We're there today. But when you think about it, this real estate industry is a remarkable one because it provides the necessity of government at a minimum. Things got so bad at that time in 1970. The city, Mayor Beam, went to the federal government for help. And that was President Ford said, forget it, ain't gonna happen. Drop dead New York. Wasn't very pleasant. The governor, Hugh Carey, came to the conclusion that the only way to really save the city from going bankrupt was to pledge the full faith and credit of the state of New York to save the city. Enormous courage, enormous determination, real leadership. I wish we could see that today. Unfortunately, that ain't there. Certainly not there to the extent we really desperately need it. Funny, I was discussing that with Lou when we were upstairs together. Not many people have a memory of what happened back in those days, but it really did happen. The city is facing a multi-billion-dollar deficit. A cumulative budget gap of $40 billion over the next 4 years because of soaring costs, lower tax revenues, and much less federal aid. In addition to the loss of deductibility of state and local taxes, have meant many in the city, its wealthiest individuals and families, to leave New York for Florida and other states where there are no personal income taxes. In many cases, they didn't just leave as families, they took businesses with them. What's the impact of that loss on the city and on the state? How are they going to cover their obligations going forward? We have a more difficult business climate today. It's gotten worse after Michael Bloomberg's 3 terms in office. It went to de Blasio. De Blasio went absolutely bonkers, crazy in terms of expenditures. And the city started spending money it just couldn't afford. Similar to what happened back in the 1970s. There's an additional problem, among others. There's the possibility, there's the real possibility that there will be an elimination of competition, compete clauses, no compete clauses. How does that affect us? Does it affect business? Does it affect technology? Does it affect industry, banks, insurance companies, investment banks, so forth? Hugely. Why? Because people can learn the secrets of a company, can learn their best customers, and then after a year or two or three or whatever the time frame is to get the information and learn the trade secrets, they could leave because there's no longer a non-compete clause. So that's been submitted in the state legislature, again, by progressives. Its impact on low-wage earners, maybe $200,000, be negative, wouldn't have any real impact. But the people who earn significantly higher wages, who work for major companies, technology companies, for example, they could not afford to lose their trade secrets. The customers. Would this be good for New York? Hell no. It's going to have a chilling effect upon the city. So that is one of the things that has to be defeated. That's the governor's job. She'll do her best to knock it out. But by golly, it's frightening. So you look at all this and you say to yourself, and I say to myself, what's happened? What's happened to the golden apple? Will the city continue to attract the people who it's always attracted? I look at the picture and I say to myself, how are we going to make it through this? How will we survive this? Is there a future for us? Is there a future for you? I've been there already. Let me tell you, I think about it. I really focus on it intensely. Spend a lot of time with the mayor, although Marty is focused primarily on the mayor. I focus primarily on the governor. The city of New York still has the best in everything conceivable. It attracts the smartest, hardest working, most talented, creative people in every facet of professional and personal life. Whether you're into the arts, theater, dance, music, the disciplines of real estate, finance, technology, health, philanthropy, law. If you want to really have the best opportunity in those fields, where do you go? You go to Minneapolis, you go to Detroit, you go to Savannah, you come to the city of New York, because this is where it is. If you want the best, this is the place. And the world's leading companies still want to be here. The stock exchanges are here. Media is here. Fashion, finance, capital of the world. And the world's biggest technology companies continue to recruit here. So, am I bullish on office space, for example? Sure. We're working our tails off to accomplish 2 World Trade Center. The last office tower on the campus. That's World Trade. That building will be one of the most sustainable and energy efficient in the world. We've also partnered with Brookfield to develop 5 World Trade Center, the only residential building at the Trade Center. If all goes well, that building will have 1,200 apartments and I think 300 or 400, Marty, I forget. That will be permanently affordable. Construction of both buildings at a cost of some billions of dollars will employ thousands of men and women. Okay, they're telling me to get the lot, but I'm just about done. So, the completion of 2 and 5 of the Trade Center will really completely transform what used to be the locomotive of all the business activities in Lower Manhattan. A strictly 5-day-a-week, 8-hour a day location. Totally transformed today into what? Into the best and the world's best mixed-use 24/7 neighborhood. The walk down Wall Street, if you go from Broadway to Water Street, you're going to see everything has been converted from office buildings to residential. Today, there are far more baby carriages and nannies and children than there are briefcases. The place has literally been transformed. As a matter of fact, 28% of the building who live downtown, people live downtown, work downtown. It's the highest work, live location in the United States. So, am I bullish about New York? Yes. And to everybody who questions how we came through 9/11 by tremendous effort, determination, and a belief that it could be done and would be done. And by golly, I think we're just about there. We've given it all we've had, but there, it's happened against all odds. Can we overcome this problem? Can we overcome this downturn? I believe we can, because we've got to work together as is desperately needed, because only that way will the governor and the mayor succeed, and they're truly doing their best. So, I'm delighted to be joined today by one of the leaders who will affect our future, and one of the most important people in my life, my daughter Lisa, the new CEO of Silverstein Properties. She's worked for our company for almost 30 years and has gotten to know and work with a number of you during that period. Together, she and Tal, her husband, and my best son-in-law, and with the support of Dino Fusco and all the people at Silverstein Properties, Lisa will lead our company very well into the future. She's a woman after my own heart in terms of the interests that we share, the values that we have. She's on the board of NYU, has a leadership role, UJ Federation, supports many, many causes, and deeply involved in them. Lisa and Tal, spectacular couple and terrific team. So, at the end of the day, I look forward to them doing great things. I've also devoted the twilight of my life to the Trade Center, rebuilding it and transforming downtown and a different place. I've learned over many years, almost 70 years in this business, what I've learned is that pulling together, seeking opportunities that will be there, that they were always there. Every downturn provided opportunities for me in my career, without an exception. And I suspect that'll be the same for you, because the one thing you never do is bet against America. You never bet against New York. Because every time I've been through one of these downturns, we've come back bigger and better than ever. So all I say is the future is going to be no different. Thank you for listening.